only had a bowl of cereal today. I'm so hungry, I could eat Zach Marriott.
Oh, wow. You went into that, huh? You tried that on me? He's a good guy.
You're too chronically online for this goddamn trend. I was waiting for this moment. I was like, this will be the perfect way to start This Is Niche.
You went to Facebook.
I actually didn't go to Facebook because you and I are not Facebook friends, and it won't let me see anyone but our mutuals.
So how'd you find Zach Marriott?
Wouldn't you like to know?
From Instagram? Which would have to be like my random ass personal Instagram to get someone random like that.
Who is Zach Marriott? I just saw that it was you, Aaron, and Andrew, and I was like, oh, it's someone from track, probably, from high school.
Yeah, I guess so. I was going to say college, but I was like, I wasn't even sure about that. But yeah, it's high school.
You should have done it to me. I would have at least had the chutzpah to fake a reaction.
I'm so hungry I could eat Bootsy.
Oh my God. Wait, how do you know who Bootsy is? Oh, rest in peace, Bootsy, my first dog.
This is Niche
I'm going to talk about it anyway.
So should we kick this off with the season finale of our one of our favorite shows, Extracted?
Yeah, so we're a little late on watching it because Will once again was out of town, but we finally watched the Extracted finale last night. I'm so happy with how it turned out.
As far as competition shows go, very rarely do they actually have the right person win, the underdog, the one, the fan favorite who's not necessarily the competition's strongest player.
I think that she's very strong, but in terms of who she was up against, he was very physically... See, I don't even remember their names.
No.
I never knew their names throughout this entire thing. Something with a K
Shark.
sound. Shark. Our girl Shark. He was very physically tough, very muscly, running, doing things like that. And she was really physically strong too. And it was great that she was like a river rafting person or whatever at the end because they had a river raft challenge. But it was a battle of the wits as well.
And a connection to your counterpart in the headquarters.
I think what really cinched it, speaking of the connection between the people in the headquarters or whatever and the person out there, is that she knew immediately they're going to pick my nickname Shark. And a lot of other people on the show were choosing your son's name, this word that things like that. Why did Woody's family, I remember Woody, why did they choose the word trust?
They talked about it a lot. And I will admit that they have said the word trust a lot, just like trusting each other. I trust you. It was a very odd word to try and go with.
I would go with a name, 100%.
It's not all that surprising that the ex-cop chose his final word to plug into his dial. If you don't know what this part of the final competition was, is that they had a lockbox with a satellite phone inside where they had to program, the people in the headquarters had to program a 5-letter word for this lock. And the people out in the wild just had to guess what that word was.
Which seems so hard.
Incredibly hard. Definitely choosing like a family. You and I went back and forth.
I would do
on
Junie.
This. I wouldn't have gotten Junie probably. But again, this guy's family chose trust.
He was typing in T-R-U. I was like, oh my God, he's going to get it.
And the producers were doing a great job because the other person was typing in B-R-O, which is correct for his son's name.
Right. So I was like, oh my God, he's finally going to get trust. No. He put in Trump, and that was his downfall. And if that is not a metaphor for everything that is happening right now, I don't know what is.
The ex-cop choosing Trump as the 5-letter
Honestly, they should have made Trump the word. They probably were like, we know that he's one of those Trumpy obsessed people, and we don't want to come across like that on Fox, but it's Fox.
And I would imagine that they probably also saw that in the headquarters and was like, oh God, we're going to get roasted for this.
Yeah, they knew. It was so good the way that the producers edited that and included that. It was hilarious.
Honestly, overall, I think it's an A show. I think it's a great A show. I thought they did a really good job getting everyone in. It's always the hardest with these reality shows to be the first season because now after we've watched it, the next group that goes in there to play the game, they can strategize based off of what they saw on this season. Mm-hmm. If you're the first season, it's always the hardest. But
that's why the first season of Love is Blind was so good.
Yeah.
Wig snatching.
Traitors, kind of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to run its course eventually. But for a first time show around, new idea, Hunger Games style, it was great.
Yeah, I loved it. I'm going to miss having something to look forward to on Tuesdays.
Yeah, and right now we're watching Get Out, Go Run, Escape the Mansion.
Get Up and Go, get out and I gotta get out of here.
Gotta get out.
Gotta get out, I think is what it's called. Girl.
I don't know. The show creators did not do great on that title because it's.
But the show really gets the heart racing.
The show's pretty good.
It's good. It's a bunch of people in a house and they're trying to escape, but it's like reality TV people and normal civilians, as they would say. Yeah. It's
cool. No one's gotten out, and I'm wondering if that's, kind of a detriment to the show. The fact that it's too hard to get out right now.
I got a spoiler on TikTok and I know who gets out.
I don't want to know. Don't ruin it for me.
I'm not going to ruin it.
We're about halfway through the season and no one's gotten out. So
I'm rooting for the People magazine writer who everyone hates because he tried to escape, which is the whole point of the damn game.
Yeah, he's getting bullied in there for like no reason. He's getting bullied for basically getting caught in the corner and lying about, an aspect of the game. And
who
then
cares?
And then they're like bullying him for it, and it honestly makes me feel bad.
I get it. Justice for him. We will keep watching. I think all the episodes are already out. We're just behind, so we'll see who ends up winning at the end.
Yeah, we'll come back. I don't know how many people are watching this. I haven't seen a lot of stuff online about this show.
I haven't either. And Spencer Pratt is on it, and you would think that he would be promoting it heavily, but it's not popping up on my For You page, surprisingly.
And Spencer Pratt, he's like an ultimate gamer. He's on there. He knows how to play it. He's giving people nicknames. Like
he's so good.
Like the Trash Bandit.
I think the most important thing that we must cover in this episode is Pope Francis. And I don't mean the man in the Catholic Church who just died. I mean Trisha Paytas' unborn child. There is overwhelming evidence that once again, Trisha is giving birth to a child who is reincarnated from a royal high-standing person. It's just very interesting that she's on tour singing this song, I Love You, Jesus. And her dad's name is Francis. And she's spreading the Catholic word. She's married to a man named Moses.
There's a lot of indicators here.
Things are a little weird. I'm buying it a little bit.
I mean, you find love in a hopeless place. You find luck in the unluckiest of places.
And you think of someone like Trisha, bad past reputation, been through a lot of struggles and controversies. She would be the one to give birth to the Pope.
I mean, Jesus born in a manger of a, husbandless mother.
Ooh.
You've got the unlikeliest of scenarios creating the
Mary
holiest
Magdalene,
of
his BFF, the town pump, was she not? Mary Magdalene was Jesus's friend who was a prostitute, and he took her in because he's not judgmental like that.
So his best friend and his mother are both named Mary.
She traveled with Jesus as one of his followers and was a witness to his crucifixion and resurrection.
Jesus's mother is
just Mary, period.
Okay.
Anyways, I feel like Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Trisha, controversial past. It adds up that she would be giving birth to the Pope, and she is now considering naming her child Pope Francis.
I want to say the Catholic Church is going to have something to say about that.
Why? Because they don't believe in reincarnation?
No, Pope is just like a sacred word. Just to just randomly throw it around as like the first name of your child. Is the child's name going to be first name Pope, middle name Francis, or first name is Pope Francis?
I believe it's going to be like Malibu Barbie, first name Malibu, middle name Barbie, but goes by both, Pope Francis. Yeah, I don't know. Best of luck to the Pope and his reincarnation, rest, whatever's going on. But I do think that it is very possible. Also, a lot of evidence that Queen Elizabeth is indeed Malibu Barbie, randomly talks in a British accent, very demure, commands a room, and loves dogs. The evidence is overwhelming.
This will be studied for millennia.
I think this will be in the history books. It'll be in the Chronically Online history books at least.
I'm very happy that all these scenarios really line up for Trisha. She deserves it.
I think she does deserve the Pope, honestly, and she is spreading the gospel every night on her tour. The song is so good also, and it talks about coming from a really dark place in life. She was so depressed that she overdosed, and she was saved in that moment, not by the ambulance, but by the Holy Ghost. It's a great song. Anyway, speaking of church songs, I saw on my TikTok For You page a church doing a performance of Benson Boone's song that's like, I want you, I need you, oh God. It took me back to youth group.
They're thinking he's saying, oh God, like, oh God, but he's really saying, oh God, like, oh God.
Yeah. Yes, and they really took that moment, and it truly was giving concert. Like, the way they performed it was very concert. It wasn't very worshipy. Like, I don't even think they had the words behind them on the screen like they normally do. People weren't clapping along.
It's just a vibe to get people's butts in seats.
Or out of seats.
It
It was definitely a situation when I was 13, I would have been going like this.
There's like a number of songs where they're using these analogies and people assume that they're more literal than they are, but they're just like
Right.
about fucked up shit.
There was one song that they sang at my church camp. Did I ever tell you this story? They sang this lilah song, or quoted it, at church camp. The church camp theme was abstinence that year, which weird church theme. But they quoted this lilah song.
Sorry. At church camp, where like notoriously nefarious things happen. At church
Nothing
camp.
nefarious was happening at my church camp.
You had a straight edge church camp?
Absolutely. I did have a crush at church camp. Nothing ever happened.
I'm sorry, but if you're saying that you had a straight edge church camp, you were not part of the church camp or nefarious things were happening.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm sure people at the church camp were doing things, but
You weren't.
I was not. Absolutely
And you
not.
weren't aware of the ones that were happening, but I guarantee you there were things happening.
Perhaps
church camp,
there were.
people get freaky.
Did you go to church camp?
No,
Okay, so how do you know this?
because I went to a Christian school where all they talked about were like the church camps and the chances for PK kids, pastors' kids, where they get away from their families and they turn out to be the kinkiest ones. They were definitely the craziest ones at school.
That's wild. Anyways, I'm at church camp. Mind you, this is the year that I came home from church camp, the day that Michael Jackson died. This church camp year was major for me. They're quoting this lilah song called Portions for Foxes, and I was obsessed with Grey's Anatomy. And if you watch Grey's Anatomy, you know that song plays on the pilot when Meredith and Derek are having their one night stand or whatever and getting dressed and going to the hospital, right? Why did they change the lyric from the talking leads to touching and the touching leads to sex and then there is no mystery left? As in, I hooked up with you too soon and now I have no mystery leading forward to keep you interested. They changed it to the talking turns to touching, the touching turns to sex, and then the mystery is gone. Seems like a small change, but if you think about the difference between there's no mystery left and the mystery being gone, left implies I was trying to hold some mystery to keep you interested because I want to keep hooking up and I want this to work out. Gone means it's gone forever, irreparable.
I've got it. I don't need any more.
You're trash. I'm done with you. And in that moment, I was like, that's not the lyric. Why are they changing the lyric? And even though I was like 13 and knew nothing about nothing, it really made me realize that they are changing the interpretation of things. And I never went back to church camp.
Okay, so I don't have a ton of information on this story, except for the fact that
Misinformation alert.
Okay, so there is a known crypto rug puller.
What's a rug puller?
Talk to a girl.
Oh, a scammer.
Right. So she didn't arguably probably sign on to do exactly that. But when she got her crypto created, it was created in a way that benefited a few and screwed over the many. So this guy does this quite a bit where he like helps create these crypto situations. He promotes them. And then the people who invest get the rug pulled, don't get the return that they were hoping for. And him and a handful of his friends or however many, they make out like bandits. That's a rug puller. This crypto rug puller pays this influencer something like $20,000 or something like that to do an Instagram post promoting this crypto. The guy's like, okay, sure, like blah, 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 blah. And then he finds out that it was going to be a rug pull. So he doesn't post. He was just like, standing on his own business. He's like, I'm not going to help promote you to scam people. So I'm not going to post this. And because you're doing fucked up shit, I'm going to keep your money. And he just ghosted the guy. And then he's like walking around somewhere and the rug puller confronts him and posts this video of him like in his face. Like,
so I sent you some money.
Yeah.
For a crypto event.
Yeah, for a crypto scam, wasn't it? So, and I didn't do it, yeah. It was a rug pull.
It was a rug pull?
It was a rug pull and I didn't do it. And yeah.
And I sent you 10 bags. Just
Yeah, so the 10 bags is up your arse, mate.
Why would he confront him and act like that was going to be a gotcha when he's scamming?
he wanted his money back. It got me thinking, when it comes to the ethics of, social media in this situation, what would you have done? Would you have just returned the money and just said like, nah, I'm not interested in this?
I find it odd that he got paid before he posted. I haven't heard of a lot of people getting paid the full amount before they do the post.
When you're doing nefarious things, maybe, payment and all that stuff works a little differently.
I probably would have given the money back and said I'm not doing it.
But you're also like fucking over the person who's fucking little people over.
Yeah, but maybe I do a video exposing him and I say I didn't take his money. I did give him the money back, but Here's what he's doing.
But at the same time, if someone's willing to offer you $20,000 for a story or a post or something like that, you know, I'm thinking, let me get my bag.
Oh no. If you get that bag, you get $20,000 now, and then a bunch of your followers get scammed and you lose them. In the long scheme of things, you lose a lot more money than $20,000.
I have to imagine that he's not just only rug pulling. Like if he was only rug pulling, he'd have no reputation. I have to imagine that he does some good stuff, he does some proper stuff, and then he does some fucked up shit. If this influencer has the morals that he's, you know, standing on having, he wasn't certain that he was going in on a project that was necessarily going to screw over a bunch of people.
Yeah, but if they screw over people in general and there's a chance, I don't think that you should do it.
If I was a rich influencer posting about crypto stuff and I had the opportunity to fuck over a known rug puller who admittedly is screwing our industry and hurting the reputation of crypto as a whole, I would take that as vigilante justice in a way.
But my thing is that, and maybe this is a woman thing, I would be concerned that this rich guy from Dubai is going to have me whacked or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I would be very concerned about my safety stealing, quote unquote, from this crook.
You and me both. I can't screw someone over and not have like a panic attack about every corner I turn and see the guy and getting fucked up, right?
Especially being confronted in person, I'd be like, oh shit, he found me.
Right. But there's a lot of people who don't care about that type of thing.
I think I would more so just expose.
That's fair.
Than steal the money. Because what's $20,000 to that person anyway? I guess it matters if he confronted him, but I don't know. These crypto bros scare me. Rich men who care a lot about being rich.
Yeah.
I'm a little spooked by that.
And you don't get to be rich without being petty about every dollar like that.
That's true. Rich people are the cheapest people on earth.
About like the weirdest things too. They'll drop like 10 grand at dinner at Nobu, but they'll be like, you are not going to charge me $49.99 for internet. You're going to give me that $29.99 promo and you're going to extend that for 3 years instead of 2, or
No,
I'm going to sue your ass.
They'll spend $10,000 at Nobu and then like Venmo charge you $20 for the Uber there. It's like, really? Why are you so goddamn cheap?
Exactly.
I want to know what you would do in this situation. So let's go back a few years. It's 2020, 2021, one of those. This influencer that you follow is selling designer stuff. She's in a bad way and she's selling her stuff. So you message her about this $200 Dior sweatshirt. And she's like, okay, yeah, Venmo my friend because my Venmo's not working. And then I'll send you the sweatshirt. And you're like, okay. So you Venmo her friend the $200 and you never get the sweatshirt. So you keep messaging her like, where is my sweatshirt? Where's my sweatshirt? And she's seeing the messages and not replying. You even messaged a friend whose Venmo has the money in it. And the friend tells you, you need to talk to her. This has nothing to do with me. I'm not giving you your money back. Get your refund from her. What would you do in that situation? Do you just cut your losses and you're like, whatever, I just lost $200?
Depends on your platform. But I mean, with TikTok nowadays, you try to expose, you try to get public opinion on your side, I guess.
This girl did post a TikTok with all of the receipts. Her name is Glowgetter on TikTok. And the influencer who scammed her name's Lilah Gibney. And this is an influencer who now in 2025, we all know, like, never send this influencer money because she will steal your money. She's very untrustworthy. There was this situation where she was on a plane vaping and got in trouble with the flight attendants, got kicked off the plane, and was telling her friend, Tana Mojo, I'd never vape. They're coming for me. Like, I don't know why this is happening. Get me your lawyer. Tana gets the lawyer involved in everything. And then finally she's like, okay, I was vaping. It's like she does stuff like that. She went to an influencer wedding and like posted pictures of the wedding before the bride and groom got to post about it. All of this stuff has happened since the Dior scam.
Was this done on Depop or just individual, like on Instagram?
I think it was on Instagram. So it's not like she can go to Depop and say, I didn't get my thing.
Right.
So Lilah posts a response eating a sandwich, a Jimmy John's sandwich or whatever, a Jersey Mike's, and was like, look, you posting this about me and you trolling Reddit forums about me, trying to expose me is so pathetic. I moved on. I'm taking accountability and moving on. And that's that. Goodbye.
But didn't refund the money.
Did not refund the money.
Yeah, easy for you to move on since you successfully scammed.
Right. And it's like $200 at this point.
Which is a lot for a lot of people.
I feel like it's not a lot for her. She has brand deals and things like that. She vlogs, and why can't you just send the money?
I mean, she clearly does this a lot. I mean, if you're talking about the vaping on the plane, like she'll do it until she's backed in a corner and then she's like,
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want me to do? But unless you start throwing lawyer things at her, and now she's going to have to start paying lawyer fees to combat lawyer things, but then everyone's out a bunch of extra money.
Right. Although you could say, take her to small claims and say you're paying my lawyer's fees, because it's very cut and dry. She did scam her. I just think it's interesting that she called her out for her Reddit posting about it. Like, you can take a moral high ground because someone posted about it on Reddit when you're scamming people. It's very sad.
Like,
I hope she
I
gets her money
scammed you
back.
at $200, but God forbid you write on the internet about me.
Right. The scams are big. The scams are small. The scams are happening everywhere.
And people deserve justice. Like
Justice, baby.
Vitaly getting arrested in the Philippines.
Poetic justice.
Poetic justice.
Poetic justice.
For me, since I just despise this corner of the internet.
Okay, what corner is this?
Who's this stupid guy? Jack Doherty is like the corner of the internet that I despise. You know, this, I'm going to do anything to try and get people just to tune into my streams. So like he walks down Hollywood Boulevard, puts his arms out wide like this and bumps into people to try and get a reaction from people. And he'll bump into like much, much bigger people than he is. But he hires like a 6'8" security guard. So that every time someone confronts him for bumping into him, the security guard just comes in and just back off. That's his
Ew.
right? It's just obnoxious to the core, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got people that are, you know, going to other countries and like disrespecting the food and disrespecting the restaurants and disrespecting the people and the culture, all because of the stream. So they'll just be like, do you have any ketchup? The head is still on the fish here. It's like, bro, like in many parts of the world, like that's how you serve fish. People that just do stuff for the stream and it just kills me.
Yeah.
So Vitaly, known just bully.
I remember his videos where he would be like going into the ghetto and starting fights with people.
Exactly. So him getting arrested in the Philippines and up for like 10 years in jail is some poetic justice.
Did you hear about that streamer who did something similarly? There's this island off the coast of Asia with this tribe that hasn't had any other human contact, and he streamed trying to get to the island and got arrested as well.
Yeah.
Why are you... I understand the streaming money is big, but is that worth going and being locked up abroad? As Nat Geo would say, you really want to be locked up abroad?
When I see a grown man, we strike up a conversation at some event and it's like, hey, what's going on, man? Like, what do you do for work? And you tell me you make videos streaming, trolling the internet. I'm just like, how do you answer that question? How do you confidently?
I would just say I'm a streamer, period.
And then
No
I say,
details.
what do you stream? Do you stream video games? Do you stream?
Yeah, I just do like skits and pranks and things.
As soon as you say skits and pranks, I'm like, oh my God, just the worst of the worst.
I think everyone should be required to watch Locked Up Abroad on National Geographic to really understand what you're getting yourself into in these other countries. But not everyone is locked up abroad. Some people are locked up right here. And George Santos just got sentenced to over 7 years in prison, 87 months.
Why do they always like sentence in like months? I understand that it's specific, but why not just do like 6 years, 8 months or something like that? But it's always, you are sentenced to 203 months in county jail.
I don't know, but that is a long ass sentence for George Santos. I hope that he saved that cameo money because he's going to need some commissary money on his books, honey. I really can't believe that he is actually going to prison. He has done so much scamming and fraud and lying in his life. I was reading that he kept getting evicted from his apartment and telling the eviction court that he needed access to the apartment again to get his pet fish. And his roommates, who he just cycled through a bunch of different roommates, they were all like, he never had a fish. Why does he lie about everything?
George Santos is so low hanging like government fruit that him getting actually sentenced in some way makes me a little hopeful that some of these other white collar crimes are going to see their justice eventually. But
I feel like he was an easy throwaway.
You just can't have people running for government on a basis of complete lies.
I agree, but I think he was a throwaway, an easy, okay, this'll show him kind of person, but they're never going to go after someone who's actually important. Like, he got kicked out of Congress so quick.
And he was talking about running again.
The fact that this man was selling cameos like hotcakes, like $500 cameos, is nuts.
And people were buying.
People were buying. I was tempted, and I was like, I'm not giving this scammer $500.
Absolutely not. No, you can't do that.
This is not Nikki Blonsky. Okay, this is not worth it. I think he will do okay in federal prison. I'm sure he's going to one of those Jen Shaw, Elizabeth Holmes bullshit prisons, right?
I don't know.
He's not going to a max security. He's going to like a...
He's not that kind of criminal, no.
He'll be all right. It's a long sentence, and maybe he'll write a book or something. Do a little cash grab.
He'll get some sort of like, I mean, what network would cover it? TLC documentary or...
Ooh, I could definitely see him on TLC or Lifetime.
Congress to Prison Pipeline, the George Santos.
Oh my God. From Congress to Commissary, the George Santos story. From the federal government to federal prison, the George Santos story. Who's going to play George Santos in the Lifetime movie?
Harry Hamlin.
I actually would love that. I think it could work. The glasses? Harry Hamlin can do anything. I think it's time for the moment that we've both been waiting for, and that is the inaugural Nishi book club. We are reading This Hoe Got Roaches in Her Crib by Quan Millz.
I did not expect that book to be that thick.
This is almost 300 pages. I'm currently on page 53, and can I just say, it's actually pretty good. There are some themes that are emerging. You can see I've been taking some notes here that are very interesting. There's a theme of motherhood. Basically, the main character, Fred Quisha, has 2 boys and a girl, different baby dads, and she takes out her rage against the girl's baby dad, Austin, out on the little girl and treats her sons so much better, and also kicks her children out of the house to get dicked down by gang members. And I think that shows very much a pick-me theme that is emerging in here. We also see at the daddy-daughter dance in prison that Austin's cellie, DeMario, loses his daughter right before the daddy-daughter dance. That's some real shit. Appreciating your life, appreciating your family and what you have.
Is this giving Tyler Perry in a way?
No. I think it is too extreme for a Tyler Perry. It's giving Tubi.
Not in the fact that it's like what Tyler Perry would create, but it's a lot of like bad wigs and funky tropes, but real topics, real people shit in the middle.
No.
Okay.
I think that Tyler Perry is a faker, a poser, and Quan Millz is the real deal.
Oh shit, don't let Tyler Perry see that.
Tyler Perry watches This Is Niche, so he's definitely going to block me after this. But I found that it was interesting that he starts off the book with a note to the reader saying that this is satirical fiction and it's social commentary. The descriptions of the characters don't reflect his personal feelings or beliefs in regarding to Black women in particular. And any stereotypes that are in here are to cast a light on the genre of urban fiction and how unserious it is, because urban fiction exists really besides Quan Millz, and it is full of stereotypes, and I can definitely see how this is commentary on that genre.
That's fair.
It's a very extreme look at it.
Is he fine with the genre, or is he trying to like
he's
alter
trying to,
the genre?
Yeah.
Okay. Does he point that out through his own spelling errors?
There are quite a few in here. There's some grammatical and spelling errors. I'm not sure if this was the final draft because there are words that are crossed out and replaced in here. You do have to look past that. There are some sentences that you might have to read a couple times to make sense of them. Also, there's no space after he uses ellipses. There's just a lot of things in here that can make it a little tough, but I do think that the story is very good. I think that I'm excited to keep reading.
I feel like you're right at that threshold too. If you're into it within 50 pages, it's a pretty good book. In my experience, the first 50 to like 100 pages, sometimes like the hardest to get through, and then you're really rolling and you really like what's going on. Mm-hmm. If you're already into it at 50 pages, I think that's a win.
Yeah, and I'm not even to the conflict yet. This is all exposition, this first 50 pages. It's setting the scene. Who's Fred Quisha? Who are her kids? What does she do without her kids? Who's Austin, the baby daddy? Who's Mrs. Watkins? You're getting really a look at who these characters are and kind of how they're framed. A character who I find really interesting is Nate, the slumlord who owns the apartment building that has roaches that the hoe is living in. He does not give a fuck about anything but collecting that government check and going to the Dominican Republic and, I don't know how to put it, paying for love. Let's just say that. He's a very interesting character. I'm interested to see how he develops as the story goes on, but I do think that it's very interesting. So in short, so far I would recommend it. I think if you can look past the spelling and grammar errors, you'll have a good time reading this, and I'm excited to get to the conflict and kind of see how this develops.
We were thinking that this might be a book club in which, we all meet and we talk about a book after we finished it. But it's really going to be like a reality show. We're going to go couple episodes by couple episodes and give you updates.
We're just going to see how far we go each time we do This Is Niche. And I'm going to spend a lot of time this weekend getting to the conflict here. I'm assuming, halfway through about would be the peak of it all, really.
The climax.
Yeah, the climax. So I'm stoked. Also, love the cover art. I love the Spider-Man bed sheet as a curtain. That's a very nice touch. And I love that because I got this through TikTok Shop, it's a signed copy.
And you love the experience of buying through the TikTok Shop.
I might start hawking some shit on the TikTok Shop because I didn't realize that you just click that orange button and it immediately has all of your information in there. It's connected to your Apple Pay. You press 2 buttons and you buy things. I understand why people are buying stuff on TikTok Shop now. But it also gives you a huge discount. Like the real book, I believe it's either $19.99 or $29.99. I got it for $9.99 with all my TikTok Shop coupons. So highly recommend. And I'm looking forward to diving deep. Also, like, who is this character? I don't know. We don't know who this guy is on the cover yet. He's a man with braces, a denim button-up. I don't know who this is. Maybe Nate gets out of jail. We don't know. I think it's about time, since it's been a few weeks and we have some townie tea, to bring back the segment. Reminder, before we get into the townie tea, you can send me your townie tea to my email, briastuartbiz@gmail.com. Just put in the subject that it's townie tea so I know what it is. And we will share your townie tea with the masses, because there's nothing better than gossip about random people who you don't know.
And that's exactly what today's Townie Tea is all about, because it is Townie Tea gossip, someone I do not know and will never see again in my life. Because why is it that the entire drive from the airport to my hotel, when I just asked my Uber driver, how's your day going? And he goes, not that good. I'm like, sorry to hear that, man. Rough day. And that right there,
he was just waiting for someone to ask.
Triggered. I only pause because we went back and forth a little bit about whether or not it was appropriate to tell this story, since it's not my story. And he didn't necessarily ask to be on Townie Tea segment. But if you're offering this story up to strangers in your Uber,
I feel like he would like it that we told it. And we're not going to say any names or anything
we're not going to say any names. I don't know his name. I don't know his family's name.
Yeah.
We might give some fake names here.
Okay.
Okay, so my Uber driver, let's call him Jason. Jason is a low 30s, hustling. He tells me that he's having an issue because his older brother, he's a sibling of 7. He's one sibling of 7.
Wow.
His oldest brother has had some issues. Every now and then, is down and out with, needs a place to stay, needs some money, needs some clothes, does some stuff. Well, my Uber driver, Jason, has a friend. Let's call him Mike. He's got money because he sells dope. And so he carries a bag, he carries a gun, he's got cash. He's doing his business. He's working well. Jason and Mike have been friends since they were kids. And they have been such good friends that he's basically been like one of the siblings in a family in which they don't allow, outsiders in at dinner and, to family functions. Mike has always been welcome. And Mike has always looked after Jason's older brother. Why did Jason tell me that he and his brother Steve haven't spoken for years? Because Steve got shot by Mike at a barbershop. Now he tells me why Mike shot Steve. Steve got a crew together to hold up Mike for something like $20,000 and a 5-pound bag of weed.
Well, what do you think will happen when you try to hold up a drug dealer?
But here's the thing. Jason's giving me all this tea. He's like, Mike, he carries a gun because of the work that he does. But everyone knows he's a scaredy cat. And you don't fuck with a scaredy cat with a gun because he'll be doing stuff that he's not supposed to be doing.
Right. The scaredy cats with the guns are the ones you have to worry about. They don't have a level head.
Exactly. They're going about their business. Jason, my Uber driver, doesn't really realize that his older brother held up Mike. He knows Mike got held up, but he doesn't know by who.
Oh.
But Mike knows who held him up. It wasn't Steve who held the gun and held him up, but he knows he was planning. He was sitting in the car. He got his friends to go out and do the job.
Steve wasn't the one who was doing the robbing. He just said, I know this guy has money. Let's go. Right. Y'all go in and do it.
So they also had the same barber. And what do we know? A couple months later, they bump into each other at the barbershop. Mike walks into the barbershop. Steve's getting cut. So what does Mike do to start? He says, strip down. As Steve is stripping, Mike is holding a gun just down by his side. He's not pointing. He's not doing nothing, but he's got his gun. And he's basically being like, I'm serious. He's kind of humiliating him in front of the barbershop, As Steve is stripping, he pulls a gun. Mike shoots him. he lives. He's good. Now, basically, Jason is like, now we're in this conundrum as a family because I have no beef with Mike. Mike has been my friend from the get-go since we were kids. He's always stood by me. He's always stood by Steve. We've always been good. And he didn't do anything really wrong that I see. He got held up and stolen for a bunch of money and a bunch of product. Steve did something stupid by pulling a gun on a man who had a gun. What do you kind of expect is going to happen? Jason did admit that had his brother died, had his brother been paralyzed, had his brother had needed an amputation, it would have been different. Mm-hmm. But Steve is fine. He's back to normal. All things are good. Basically, it's now a brother feud. You're friends with the man who shot me.
That's tough. This is like a parable about, is the blood of the covenant thicker than the water of the womb?
Exactly.
Do you stand by your brother because he's family, even though he did something bad? Or do you stand by the person who he wronged, who just was seeking retribution? It's tough. Honestly, this is like a Shakespearean play.
It's crazy. And now the family's trying to get together. There's nieces and nephews involved. They're trying to have Thanksgiving. And, they don't get together as a family too often. But when they do, they want everyone to be together. But now the older brother is ducking whenever he finds out that Jason's coming by for dinner. I don't know, man. Your friend has looked out for your brother. And your brother hasn't taken ownership over, holding him up and stealing his money and stealing his stuff.
Honestly, you owe Mike an apology.
1,000%.
Steve owes Mike an apology.
Jason wants to mend it with Steve, but Steve doesn't want to mend it with Jason.
Because he's still friends with Mike.
Yeah. And I just told him, I was like, bro, if you want to mend it with your brother, you're going to have to leave that door open every time. You got to show up at every function. You got to be there no matter what. You got to make it so that he kind of has no choice but to bump into you so you can talk. You can't be the one who's doing all that because now all of a sudden, now he's got conflict because you also don't want to meet up with him.
Yes, you have to put the ball in his court. Yeah. Don't be the one who's avoiding the family. Don't upset your life in any way, shape, or form. Just show up like you normally would, and if he's there, he's there. That is a very interesting story, though.
Yeah, very personal story to bring up to a random in an Uber.
Shout out to Jason.
Shout out to Jason. Thank you for the story. I was very intrigued by it. I was cool with the story.
That's a Quan Millz book. Not extreme enough.
If one of the parties was like a sewer rat.
A BBW Velociraptor. Our nichelord of the week is my girl Hannah Carter. She's a TikToker who does impressions of influencers, and she is so funny. She'll do like an outfit of the day, and she'll be like, and my shirt is from Maisie Moo. These earrings are from Will McNeil. And this earring is from Lamp. And she just says these random words. Because these influencers who are doing these outfits of the days, they're like, my shorts are from Daisy Lou. They say these random kind of boutique stores with all these weird names. Like, this is Dress Up Buttercup. So it's like that. She's absolutely hilarious. And she's really filling the void that Dr. Natalia left. Dr. Natalia used to do influencer impressions. And then the election happened. And she went a little
okay.
And so a lot of people had to unfollow her. And now I'm telling you that there's a new girl to follow, Hannah Carter. She is so funny and we love her so much.
Hannah Carter. Woo!
Junebug loves it when we sing.
Yes.
I keep saying she's Randy Jackson.
She's got perfect pitch.
She does. And on that note, let's close her out. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like niche things, internet history, pop culture, reality TV. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram. You can follow Will on Instagram at willg.mcneil. You can follow Junebug at goodjobjunebug, period. And that's that on that.